Everybody has to get up. It's like the wedding dance. Everybody up. I mean, you can visualize yourself in a reception with your closest family and friends, all running to the dance floor to get your spot, to make sure there's enough elbow room so that you can get this done. And usually they'll do that sort of a medley back to back. They'll do the wobble, electric slide, cha-cha slide, like all the things will start happening, right? To keep everybody on the dance floor at a wedding or I don't know, do they still do it at like proms and stuff? Do any of you, if you have kids still that are at school age, do they still do like those songs at proms and stuff? I can't imagine the electric slide is still happening at proms and for juniors and seniors in high school, right? They don't know what that is. Anyway, good morning. Jackie is joining us. She is just behind a little bit. Ooh, as I drop the phone, here she is. Perfect timing.
Us.
Hi.
Hi.
You missed the repartee. We had wobble going, and everybody was up doing the.
Dang!
Everybody was up. All of our millions of fans.
What do you think? This was like literally how I used to wear my hair in high school. Like,
I just was talking about high school. I was asking.
Bang.
I love it. I was just asking if like juniors and seniors in high school at proms are still doing, because then it becomes the medley of wobble, electric slide, cha-cha slide, like when you're at receptions and proms and stuff. Do you think that they still do the electric slide like in high school? No, right?
Yes, they fully do. And we were just talking about it. There was a post that, because people still play, at least a couple of those line dances. Maybe they do the more modern ones, right?
Maybe. I mean, what's the other one that's more modern? That there's a whole line dance to "It's Getting Hot in Here," which I'm desperate to learn. Yeah, it is like soul line dancing. It is so awesome.
I like that cowboy, whatever, trail ride. You know that one?
No, what is that one?
You need to look that up. That song, it's fun. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Listen, that song should have never been out. Not one time.
Awful, by the way. I texted you. Are we not doing this today? I had this.
Was I supposed to? Listen.
I texted you hours ago. Why do you have me blocked? What is your problem?
It's because of all the shenanigans. Verizon, yes. It's because of Verizon.
I mean, are you on Verizon? I don't even know.
No, girl, I didn't even know what people were talking about.
I was out for at least 9 hours because I went to bed.
It was my best day. Maybe it was because of all the Verizon.
Nobody bothered you. Yeah, I'm telling you, it went on SOS like 12, 15, something like that for me. And this is no joke. I had just started to make a phone call, half a ring, and then everything died. And of course I thought like my cheek hit the phone or something. And so I'm like redoing it. And then it's just call failed. And I noticed SOS and I'm like, and that has happened to me once or twice before. You just have to shut your phone off, wait a minute, turn it back on, whatever reset had to happen. Nope. And then I went on X. Holy guacamole.
People, first of all, I deleted my X account. I refuse.
Verizon jumped right on X. I will say this to
I'm sure
say,
they did and
we
said,
know that we're down. And then the maps started, and all the conspiracy theorists came out of the woodwork, because it was like almost half the country that was in red. It was scary
let
and
me tell you.
crazy. Like, with the tensions in the world, I'm like, we're under attack. We're under attack.
Well, I'm glad we got some people's attention, because apparently people have been literally snooze fest. Do you see all the people like
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing? I'm glad we're doing this topic today, because literally it just feels like a big long extension of chaos. What did you just do?
I had a flip because I realized that I was mirrored, and this stuff wasn't coming through well. Jackie and I, by the way, thank you to Achievers. Let's see if I
Do you
can.
want me to go get my Achievers? I can't.
No. We have matching jackets from Achievers. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Achievers. Love
Yes.
you. We appreciate that.
I will tell you. Let me tell you what was going on. Why I was a little bit tardy. Because.
Are you going to sing that song?
Tardy to the party?
You could do it better than she did, so you better record it.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Auto-tune.
Like, if they weren't going to bring you on without the money, don't. If you've never been asked to sing a solo in church.
And if y'all don't know what we're talking about with Kim, I mean, auto-tune, because she cannot sing herself. The clips of Nene listening to her sing live with the camera on Nene, they're the funniest things ever.
I miss the old days.
They are the funniest things ever. Nene's like,
well, sweet baby.
So why were you tardy? Sorry, go ahead.
Sweet baby TJ is getting ready to go to school. We're having a little, we're starting our nerd party series at the house, at the casa. And
what does that mean, nerd party? What is that?
I'm so glad you asked.
Tell me more.
We are having a PowerPoint party. And every month, everybody gets to give a presentation for 10 minutes. And so Sweet Baby TJ is coming. And so Todd had to redo his schedule. So I had to feed the dogs. And then I lost my glasses. I was like, what? You want me to do what?
You lost your glasses. You have 712 pair of glasses.
Yeah, I know you were going to say that when I told you. No, I lost these glasses. Okay. That was the full mood. I hate my hair today. I was like,
your hair is cute. Stop messing with it.
You know what it is? I'm so not used to seeing it that I'm always like, oh, wait, I'm not a natural blonde. What?
So well, you can be. Open up that bottom drawer.
Well, I'm giving my presentation on the history of the bagel because I'm very passionate about it. And I was making bagels up until like 3 o'clock in the morning last night. Brand new recipe. And I'm doing Montreal and regular New York style bagels.
Wait, what's a Montreal bagel?
I'm glad you asked. It's almost like a setup. Listen.
I know.
Montreal
I'm like feeding you.
Are sweeter and thinner and smaller in circumference.
Do you have any you've made?
No, they're all still, doing the bagel thing. But it takes a long time. But what I didn't realize, like, and John knows, and our millions of fans knows that I love bagels. And looking at the history in the 1600s, it was against the law for Jews to bake. They made it against the law in Poland for Jewish people of Jewish descent.
Are you kidding? I've never heard that before.
Not kidding. Not kidding. And that's why they made bagels, because they boiled it. So it was like a dumpling. It was the workaround to get a chance to bake. They were like, oh yeah, I'm not baking because I
boiled them.
Boiled it.
Wow.
Listen, DEI has
never heard this.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so what was the rationale to say you cannot bake? Like what was the why limit that?
Because it was a Christian thing to bake bread.
I thought, oh, and unleavened bread was, oh
That's right.
my,
That's
that's
right. It was
interesting.
Christian. You know, you have the bread, which is the body of Christ.
Wow.
And so Jewish
Wow.
people, it was against the law to bake.
First of all, is so ridiculous because the only way that's a Jewish person, when following some of the requirements for holiday, for instance, Passover, those kinds of things, to have unleavened bread, the only reason that they would know to do that is obviously because God gave the command, but it's they know what unleavened bread is because they know what leavened bread is, which is they
Right.
did bake. It's not that they never
Right.
did that. That is
Well, I mean,
so
that was this,
crazy
we're
to me.
talking about the 1600s.
Yeah, but
So
it's crazy that that's what they would draw it from when it's like, what?
what's crazy is
People
just
have been
people's
baking for years,
natural
centuries.
inclination to oppress people is what's
Can't take
crazy.
it. I can't take it. I
I
just
mean,
can't take
looking
it.
at it, even in, and this is why I think 2026, why we're having the 2025 hangover, it's just a continuation of
Oh,
all of these things. Like, have we not learned? Have we not learned
no,
anything?
nothing.
Nothing. I was looking
Nothing.
today at all of the people that were getting laid off. We know hundreds of companies are going to have layoffs in January, and people are like, I can't believe I got laid off. Girls,
I don't know
you
why
haven't
you can't.
warned. Look, they told months ago that they were laying off hundreds of people. And what we're looking at, when you live in a society that no longer values its people, then you start putting, instead of care, right? Mental health, like inclusion of making sure everyone's taken care of and that we're able to support families and women and housing and all of these things no longer become important and no longer become our responsibility. Then we start looking at salaries and money over support and care.
Yeah, it is. It's such a. I have so many thoughts on this. It's such an interesting thing
Really?
because
No
I
way.
know it's so difficult because I don't know that there's any like one silver bullet, right, to handle everyone's perspective on all these things.
Mm-mm.
And the tension there is really what we haven't figured out how to communicate through. Now, I'm not advocating for any particular position when I'm going to share an example. So I didn't realize how much people felt about, I think his name was Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, the comic strip,
Yeah.
who just died in this last week. I'm not up on comic strip creators and how people receive them. I'm not. I'm just telling. It's not my world. I don't
Next week
investigate
on
it.
But First Coffee,
I,
comic strip artists
I mean,
and the people who love them.
I know.
Right? No, no.
I just and people felt again some comments. I didn't look into any of it, so please don't at me. I'm not defending or accusing. Some people felt like there were comments that the person made in his past at some point that were racist, or some people felt that no, they weren't racist. He really was saying things like, "Don't enter the hate. If you don't like what the conversation is, then don't enter it." And so I have no idea what's true, and I honestly don't care. But it was fascinating because the reason it came up is because he just passed away, and um, some of the publications where Dilbert, is put out, I guess in the comics, uh, extended their sympathies to Scott's wife and kids at his passing, and the comments were, she should be glad her Nazi husband is dead, like all of the things. Now, I I understand that you might feel some sort of way about Scott Adams. And by the way, as an aside, I say this to employees all the time. How much of your life is filled with thinking about this person? And do you think that they think the same amount about you? You are so stressed out of your mind about things. I go to this other person and they're like, Susie feels that way. I don't know why. I don't. This person isn't thinking 10 seconds more about you than they need to. You are fretting for hours about stuff. Like, and these people can't just let it go. These kids just lost their father. You got to jump in and write comments to say, "So glad your Nazi father is gone." What? Do you know what I
You
mean?
know, the problem
It's too much.
is we keep pointing at someone else
Yes.
instead of looking
Yes.
internally at what our cause is. And so we feel better when we can just step on people. You just feel you just get to raise yourself a quarter of a millimeter.
Yes.
I'm gonna step on you. I feel just that much better.
Can I tell you something right now? You better go back. Where are we at? 19 minutes into this episode. That's your book.
It is.
That is 1000% the message and book that you need to put out. I'm not messing around. Your voice in that capacity is so powerful.
Well, thank you. I have started my book. And
I know, but former porn stars and the men that love them
the
is
men
not
that
the
love
book.
them and the women who watch.
That's a your book.
The P. Diddy story. All I know is, look, I'm gonna come out with a documentary too. In my passing, when it's gonna be like what Jackie really thought about John.
That's
and
right.
Who cares? Actually, I do have something to tell you that's really important. I'm starting the Society of Johns.
Oh, you should. That
Jackie.
is 100%
I
true.
told somebody the other day, another John friend of mine, and I said, well, I've been cheating on you, John Kinnear. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, I have 3 Johns in my life that I talk on a regular basis. And he said,
they're significant Johns too.
I would like, and I said, he goes, what? And me and him have served on a board together for like 6 years. And I said, there are, believe it or not, there are 3 other Johns that I'm sure at one point said, who would be this woman's friend? She's pretty interesting. And I was like, y'all would all enjoy each other. And he said,
Yeah.
I would like to be a founding member of the Society of Johns who are friends with Jackie. That's the whole club. We're going to have to
let him know if he makes the cut, because the 3 of us are the founding members. We'll see.
And I think it needs to be a support group for Todd, really. Where
nobody wants to give him extra support. My man, he's got everything around him. He is the most supported human being in the world. I never saw somebody with more coping outlets.
I have never, not one time, not one other person on the planet. And also,
first of all, he copes himself. The memes he sends to people, just random stuff he sends us. You're like, what? Where is that elevator? It ain't going to the top or bottom floor. It's like sideways. His brain is Excalibur.
Free. That's what freedom.
No, his brain is Luxor, the hotel at Luxor, the pyramid, where that elevator is like all sideways. That is Todd.
Leave my man alone. And also,
that thing's going down. By the way, you stayed there. That they're knocking down that pyramid.
No, they're gonna knock it down.
Mm-hmm. They're leaving the tower that they did a little bit ago.
Which they should knock that down.
It's because the design. First of all, who builds a black pyramid in a desert?
They wanted to be able to see it from space.
That's the light. You know how much heat that thing collects when it's 120 degrees in the desert, and let's build a black mirrored pyramid. Who was the design and who went, that's a great idea?
Dumb. I don't know. I actually do know. Go look, because I am one of those dorks, and I need to say that I have watched the history of the Luxor and the building, and I love going back now. It's one of my hobbies of looking at kickoffs in the 80s of hotels and buildings and structures, because it's hilarious. The hair, the celebration, and it'll be like, look at our fax and computer room. Like, it just is hilarious to me. Go look at that.
I
The
will tell
history of the
you, it's
Luxor is
really funny
hilarious.
that we're talking about, the residue of 25, meaning nothing's really changed. I know people think it's a new year, new thing. No, it's not. Doesn't have to be
It is.
anything
It
new.
is not.
I watched, speaking of documentaries, I just watched Quincy Jones' documentary, Quincy. You've seen that, yes?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
First of all, my man, come on. So talented,
It
crazy.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. The people he's worked with, the doors that got open for him to do. I mean, he and Frank Sinatra, tight, tight. In addition to like Ray Charles and Count Basie and Sarah Vaughan and all these people, and then Michael Jackson, and then Dr. Dre, and then Kendrick Lamar, and you're like, I'm sorry, what?
And T-Pain.
Like how?
Because
Yeah, how can
look
that
at
be?
Paul. It doesn't make sense. And
You know
I
who
was
he loved was Leslie Gore. That too was fascinating to me. I didn't realize he discovered and produced her.
you did it?
No, I did not know that. It's My Party. They gave him a shot, and here he is, and got Leslie Gore doing It's My Party. The record company didn't know what to do with him because they didn't expect it to work.
Well, for like a number of reasons.
Yep.
And we miss out on so much, like, because we are try to like put everybody in like I wish you could see what just happened. You hear that?
I hear it.
Yeah.
This dog.
Scooby needs therapy. I was just talking to someone about, having all these dogs. And I was like, no, Scooby doesn't know that she's a dog and doesn't know. And then
Absolutely.
Shiloh, was raised and lived in the shelter. Scooby is like, why are you here?
It's very annoying that Scooby really, really does.
Really, and hates all the dogs. It's embarrassing. We
Hates
have all
all
these
the
people
dogs.
come over with their own dogs, and then we have to say,
Snotball.
"Don't
That's what
mind
Scooby is.
her. Don't mind
Snotball.
her."
Snotball.
Look at that dog was like just trying to get some coffee because he's just a baby.
Help me. That's what the dog is saying to you. Help me. Help me.
He's like saying, "Scooby, I'm taking over," I think is what she's saying.
I,
But
but the Quincy Jones thing, I just want to say, it was really interesting to watch it. And with all the decades, I mean, that
right.
my man has been involved. And to your point, how many themes of things just continue, right? Like decades of some stuff where you're like, nope, same stuff, different year, but
Absolutely.
same stuff. Yep.
I think the part that is also interesting, like, I love Rashida
Yeah.
Jones,
Yeah.
and people don't realize that that is, her her dad, and just all of those
Yes.
pieces, he's just so inspirational, and the soundtrack alone, I have a link, I was looking for it, here it is. There is a link, to Spotify that's from that Netflix movie, um, like you're talking
Oh,
about, like,
that's a great
I'll send
idea.
you the link, I'll put it in the chat, but it just goes to show you, like, you you take for granted and listen to various tunes, you take for granted of the work that it takes to put in and how lucky we are to access and think about how life would have changed if it wasn't. And
Yeah.
it
And but it's funny because at the end of it, he's on an interview like some years back. Not it wasn't a like recent interview, but some years back, maybe early 2000, maybe late 90s, I don't know. And they asked him, um, "You've done this, you've done that. Yeah. What can't you do?" And he says, "Apparently, marriage."
right.
And I thought, that's it. Like, we don't appreciate the fact that it's going to cost somewhere. You can be great in some areas here and here, but there's a cost. There's a cost some way, shape, or form. No one has it all perfect. It's just not real, and we have to
But
stop looking at people like that.
when you can do jazz and you can do Frank Sinatra and you can do Michael Jackson, you have a pulse on the culture.
Yes.
And I think it's also interesting because he was just doing what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially all of those things in the 80s that have impact. And that's
Everybody
what
needs to
I
listen to the dude. Listen to the dude, y'all.
remember.
Ask Spotify to play that for you today. Even if it's just that one album of Quincy's, play the
I'm
dude.
afraid.
Oh, it's so good.
What makes me sad again is people don't know like the breadth and so often try to pigeonhole people into making like choices that like stay in your lane. Who has a lane of getting the ability of being free to create um is like a lost art form now, especially with chat gpt and everything else. We're losing our ability to create new innovative things.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the freedom to do it, especially when you see what is being celebrated um, versus, the creativity. Did I freeze? Did you freeze? Did we freeze? Oh, John, I'm going to add John back to the stream. I think John, just because
I
people are
cannot
quiet,
take
you
it.
think
I can't take all of this technology anymore. I hate everything and everyone. Xfinity, Comcast, Verizon, all of it.
you,
Because my life yesterday was such a reminder. My life is too connected to all this stuff. And so when something goes down, which it goes down daily, daily,
daily.
100% daily. Xfinity, Comcast, if you're listening, daily here at my office. 2 minutes, I'm not saying it's hours, 2 minutes, 5 minutes in the middle of a call. I had one yesterday, middle of a
Okay.
call, just bye, see ya, lost connection. Okay, I'm here. And by the way, I'm hardwired in, not on Wi Fi. So don't tell me that.
You are?
I am. And so it's just like,
No
so that
wonder
I can
we're talking
avoid
about
some of
Quincy
this.
Jones. You're gonna be okay.
See, the dogs feel my pain.
Listen,
Who's at the
always
front
a
door?
foster dog. Just kidding. Todd's not here. We're doing the best we can. Todd had to go early because I told you the whole thing with the bagels and taking TJ to school, and so that's why I was a little bit late.
Is
Couldn't find the bus.
TJ, did Todd take TJ to school already?
No, we're gonna take him on Friday. So he's asleep by
Oh,
all the dogs. Usually we have a different cadence.
wake that child up.
I
It's
know you sound like
9:30.
sweet baby TJ needs all the sleep he can.
No, get him up. Go tell
You
him
will.
Uncle John said, get up, take these dogs.
Maybe we should just do butt first coffee from his room. That'll get him up.
I'd be actually a little scared. I don't want to go in there while he's just waking up. Let's not do
I don't
that.
either. Yeah, no.
I'm curious because it's been another week for you of application sourcing, role sourcing.
Yes.
Did you notice an increase in opportunities this past week? Are you seeing companies say, yeah, hiring?
Nah, well, I haven't seen it. What has been interesting, I have seen an uptick in recruiting. It is in like recruiter sourcer role and more specific in go to market. Of course, when there are times like this, you see a increase in like account executive roles, but I've seen more of like senior technical recruiter, senior go to market recruiter, and
Hmm.
trying to get more nuanced. The challenge is, and I'm going to be gentle, I don't think that while talent acquisition is part of HR, I think it does take more, especially today. It takes people to more of a specialty in talent acquisition. It shouldn't just be left and swept to HR. And that's why you see people hiring recruiters instead of like talent
Hmm.
acquisition management and strategy. And so that's the challenge. We're not, even with all of the tools, we're basically just giving people, saying go recruit for these roles, and everybody's like, I use LinkedIn Recruiter and don't understand the strategies. And I have also seen that I do think AI is creating another like dumbing down of talent acquisition and the way that it should be managed.
And is that because we've got people that believe, and I'm just keeping my internet honest, or is that because you believe, or leadership believes, oh, I saw this thing on AI for recruiting. I think we can cut back on headcount and apparently use AI to do some of the things a recruiter does. Do you think it's coming from leadership?
No, I think that this has been, I think there's a basic lack of understanding of what it takes in order to do this job well and having that impact. And that if you're coming from just a personnel, some people have a personnel attitude, which I think is the butts and seats attitude
Yep.
to talent acquisition rather than, and you know what it is? It must be because, they don't have, I don't think they don't have the social graces of like, they don't, I think that as someone who had to navigate that space and try to figure out like, um how do we put these people together in order to have a successful product at the end, uh and so they don't realize how interconnected it is. That's why DEIB is so important, because if you don't look at how this is connected to be able to put out that product, you're just dropping people in there. You and I can look at a group and say they're never going to do it.
Right.
I think that one of the examples, and this is from a while ago, but I was a president of a civic organization, and I thought I was really so awesome. Like, I'm so smart. I knew
Everything.
and I went to a leadership summit. Everyone there was a president of their local organization. So I was representing like the city of Hollywood. Like, that's how small my end of the world was. There were hundreds. They were split into 4 groups, and everyone got a rope, and you had to do like this obstacle course thing together. And when you were done, you could go in
My
for lunch.
gosh.
We were outside for over 4 hours trying to negotiate this rope. These are leaders from all over the world, can't get a freaking rope. And like, we had a person in a wheelchair, we had a person that was pregnant, and you had to put like a rope between 2 poles and then get people from one side to the other side. That's the whole thing. And I've done that with other leadership groups so often. It's to be able to see what we're going to need. What are the skills gaps in order for us to reach that goal? Instead of just taking this like
Oh my
beat
gosh.
down people with knowledge. And so when you just say, oh, you want a Python developer? Here's one. You need an AI developer? Okay, this is one. Without understanding, again, and AI cannot understand the nuance of personalities and how to intersect to make sure that this team can be their best, and and have just just enough discomfort to want to make something better. It's
So
the hinge.
so how would you, I've got, so this is the residue of 25 coming into 26, some of this.
Mhm.
How do you say to someone, let me explain to you the difference between talent acquisition and rec ops. Because, and I'm saying that because if talent acquisition has become so, at least in the view of some leadership, so operationalized, so procedural, so personnel perspective, butts and seats kind of thing. The alignment of talent acquisition in full to rec ops in full, I think, is an easy jump for them to make because we're operationalizing it all. When you're trying to like elbow your way into an organization or an opportunity, and to say you're asking for a talent acquisition strategist, but the job description is really a rec ops person,
Mhm.
right? What do you say to that?
What do I say to that?
Yeah, what do you
Or what
say?
did you say to that?
No, what would you say first?
I think, and this is why, and understand I'm neurospicy and have ADHD. So that's
That's
just part
fine.
of
That's why I'm asking you
it.
first, right?
I want to go through the process. There hasn't been one interview that I haven't had that I thought we could optimize the process. So even
How
at the
about that?
end, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. Um, and also, here are some things that I think can help you with the next candidate.
That's this could have been an
No
email.
charge. So here is an example of I think let's look at it at a broader scale and something that everyone can relate to. Um, you just kind of alluded it to it. It makes sense with like Quincy Jones, right?
Yeah.
Quincy Jones had to not only understand all of the different instruments, he had to understand the culture that was going on in the world at the time. He had to understand what was attractive, what people would be willing to pay for. He had to understand why, it was Leslie Gore versus, Sally Sue, and could see the full 360 view. And in order to do the industry properly, when we had AR people back in the day, you had to be
Mm,
able to see the full
yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
And what we've changed to are people to be able to manage tools and then be told that is what this is, right? So, putting that into context for everybody can believe, macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Kraft had a machine. Like, what are you even talking about? Now we have this machine. This is, everybody say hi to, everybody say hi to Freddie. Hi, Freddie. So we had to go, Kraft had you believe that that is macaroni. How many Italian grandmas were like, that is not macaroni?
That is not
That
macaroni.
is too skinny. It doesn't have an elbow. This wasn't. Do you see my life right now? Do you see it?
I'm like, I would be like, get away. Go lay
No,
down.
Freddie's cute. She just loves me. And also, if somebody don't come get this dog. But anyway, like Kraft macaroni made you believe that that was what macaroni looked like. That's what cheese looked like. That is not a natural color.
Right.
It made you think that all you needed was water. All of a sudden, you no longer need a cow. You don't need butter. You don't need
Yeah.
anything but a spoon, right? Like, and we're feeding this. And so it's the same within talent acquisition. They somehow convinced you to believe that in order to
Yes.
do this, all you need to know is how
Yes.
to use this product. And
Yep.
on the other side, and I'm like, okay. And Patty LaBelle is going, what is that? We're all
Yes.
at the cookout going, what is that?
Patty LaBelle. Come
And
on.
they're like, it's macaroni and cheese. No, it's not.
She
No, it
of
is
all
not.
people, she's like, that is not mac and cheese.
That is not. And my children know because they have to grate all the cheese. They know that there's really cheese in macaroni and cheese.
Right.
Prove to me that, and so we want to make it as easy as possible. But what we've done is go to another country and eat macaroni and cheese. You're like, oh, what is that? Why are there breadcrumbs on macaroni and cheese? Or
Yes.
why is there this? Or what is that color? Or why does it go
Although I will tell you, go to a good restaurant for lobster mac and cheese. Oh
delicious?
my gosh.
But go put some lobster and some Kraft macaroni and cheese.
What a waste
What
of the
happened?
lobster. No, 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 no.
And so I think that's what we're doing with talent. Because you can go to AI and AI is like, look at this person. And that's what we're seeing. The reason we're going to see an uptick in talent acquisition is because they're like, okay, so talent, they gave me all these candidates and none of them work. And they'll say, oh, well, then you need a new product. No, you need a new system.
Mm-hmm.
You need a better understanding of how people work together, of the skills that are missing, of what we need and the nuance in order to create a great product made by great people.
Yeah. And I it's yes. And I think, and I almost wish Jeremy Lyons was here. I mean, this whole like rec ops thing is really fascinating to me because one of the things that I think we still have difficulty in, and that hasn't changed from last year to this year, is really, well, I'll say first, big picture workforce planning. That is like, if somebody tells me again, yes, we do workforce planning, we know that we've got um, turnover. We'll probably lose about 100 people next year or this year, and so we're already doing some sourcing to have a pipeline ready to fill in for those 100 on average that are likely to leave. Who told you that's workforce planning? Who
Right.
who said that to you? Because it isn't that. By the way, let me make sure you understand what I'm saying. I'm talking
Yes.
about workforce planning. I'm not
Right.
saying it's not wise to know that you average about 100 leaving annually. That's what your turnover tends to be. Terrific. But that is not the same as workforce planning. And so
No.
that's some of what happens with talent acquisition and rec ops. It's like, what in the these things are complementary. They're not the same thing. We've done this sort of watering down of disciplines because whether it's to your point about AI, we just run to AI and we're like, ooh, hey sweetheart, we've got pet names, you
Hey.
Larry or whatever, right?
Yeah,
You've got
Larry, that's mine. Yeah.
pet names for your AI.
You call your chat GPT sweetheart.
No, I don't call my chat GPT anything. If I have anything, I may have done "Hey girl" maybe once, but that's it. The
Hey girl.
"Hey
I'm gonna
girl."
start doing that. John says hi.
I mean, it's scary because people throw stuff in and they're like, "Oh, see, I put it all in this one prompt and it gave me one answer. Therefore, it all must be kind of the same thing."
Listen, what's scary is you go to those same people and you ask them that we're told recruiting's easy. People apply for jobs and there's so many people that don't have a role. Just apply. There's millions of people that don't have work, right? That's what people say. So
Yeah,
then you go back to, we don't need a head of talent acquisition. We're going to run everything through HR.
yeah,
We have these AI guided tools, and we're going to, all we need is a coordinator for scheduling, and we had Calendly, right?
right,
So
right.
then you say, oh, well, what role are you hiring for? We're hiring for a sales role. Me, as a senior recruiter, would say, we need to hire two. Well, we only have one role open. Yeah, no, because you're hiring for Mark. And people hate Mark. And they only average one a year, they'll
Mark.
quit. They start looking for a job by the third day here. What?
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
How do you know that? Because I've recruited for this role 15 times. Oh, well, then it must be the recruiter. No, it's Mark. Well, why don't we do something about Mark?
Nope.
Because our sales
Here's
have
the
never been
hangover.
better,
Here's the hangover.
right?
We're
Because our
going to keep
sales
going.
have never been better. Wait, but could they be better? We'll never know. That was always my argument when people would say, we want to hire people like our top salesperson. And I would say, why don't we hire somebody better than your top salesperson? And they would like, well, how are we going to do that? By hiring someone not like your head salesperson.
Yeah.
Opposite. Let's
And
hire the exact opposite.
that's where I think HR can do a great job of helping to say, this is going to be a problem for me in 30 days, in 90 days. In advance of that inevitable reality, let's be thoughtful about change that we can make now in the approach. In the process maybe, but at least in the approach. the thing that we have to be thoughtful of is we're dealing with people. And oh my gosh, I don't know who LinkedIn user is or who, there's a few LinkedIn
There's
users.
a few LinkedIn users.
I just was going to say SOP. And here's the way in which HR can actually underserve itself. You come running in with your laptop ready to document the SOP, and that's really your primary contribution, then the hangover will continue because
But
you're
it's
going to have
because
leadership look at you like you're just the documenter. You're not really one who can contribute at the level we need. And that is, we need both. We need both.
right, and I'm looking at this HR is overburdened. I'm calling bullshit. They're underempowered. They're not overburdened. They're underempowered, and they're so busy because of doing their job. They haven't been empowered to do the job they were hired to do.
Mm.
Because, oh, you know, I used to work for my dad's like car detail shop. I've hired people before. I know people.
I just had someone talk to me yesterday to let me know that they promoted someone to a director level HR, and chatted with me because they wanted me to know that the person did not have certain disciplines of HR experience. So think benefits administration, think payroll. They really don't have that background. And it was almost apologetic. And part of me was like, well, it would be good, right, for that person to get to a place where they know some of that. But that doesn't necessarily have to happen in order
Right.
to be a director of HR. You can manage
Right.
those processes. You can manage personnel that have those expertise. It doesn't mean that you have to be. I've said this before about me. If I never run another open enrollment, I will die fine. I will never long to run an open enrollment. But there are people that at Humoriso, for instance, that are on my team, BJ, whom you know well, she is slap happy if there's an open enrollment to do. Just
Loves it.
thrilled and loves it. It lights her up to be able to be a resource for people who struggle to understand benefits.
Right.
It gives her joy. I don't need to compete with her for that, but I can help manage and encourage the right perspective so that I'm not, and this sometimes happens for HR people, they self burden because they insert themselves into the I need to know everything. I've got to be involved with everything. So it justifies my existence. That's a lot of times because of, to come back to your point, we're not empowered. So you jockey for whatever you can hold on to. And it
And that's
often is that
why
stuff. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. And overcomplicating processes to try to have a level of importance.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like
And the
I was
thing
like,
that kicked us in the shins, I'm going to, not to interrupt you, is COVID. That kicked us in the shins again because we became heavily needed in process and
that's right.
compliance. And so
That's right.
we were like, ooh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I'd be needed. I have a seat at the table. You have a seat in the table because you have rubber gloves, other PPE stuff, and you tell us how many days people can be out. That's
Right.
all.
And
That's
you
all.
live close to a liquor store who can't get they can't make no liquor no more. So they gonna put some gel in it and you can take it home.
And
It's
what
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. Once the pandemic was done, look, now everybody's writing articles about how we lost our seat at the table. Come on.
And this, you know, this is the thing again. I have started writing the book about aligning, you know, dogs to HR. And people aren't dogs. But the thing that you have to consider,
Not the book about porn and the women that love them, that stuff.
no,
That's
that's going to
not
be
the
an
book that we're
ebook.
talking about. Thank you. Got
That's
you.
going to be an ebook,
Right.
maybe a visual comic. But what I'm going to be working on, one of the things that I started looking at it, I'm reading a book called The Genius of Dogs. And one of the things that it was talking about is that no, it's not going to type up a paper for you. But the fact that like a dog can understand that this is a toy for the baby and this is a toy for the house, or this is what I need to do in order to be successful versus not be successful. I think it's really funny. Like Freddie here, who every time I do Butt First Coffee in here, you know, the guest dog is like, Mama's sitting down. I'm going to take the
Yes.
spot right next to her. Why?
Yes.
Because
Every one
they
of them.
know that I'm gonna feed them, I'm gonna pet them, I'm gonna love them, and it only it and this is what so this is part of the book. The first day of every dog, and by the way, we've had 35 different dogs in our
Crazy.
house in 2025. 35 different dogs. And my son, who has now woken up, can tell you this happens every time. The first night, the dog will just walk around like it's looking for any way to escape, anything of interest, maybe a
Oh,
piece of food. They are trying to make sure that they have a strategy to leave, to find food, and to find shelter. And
yes.
it looks different at night than it does during the day. And it will every night will go around. And then after that first day, the dog kind of goes, I guess you're the one, and will surrender
Yes.
whatever the process is,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you as a owner don't realize that it was a choice, made the choice to be able to be successful. This is what I'm going to need to do. It doesn't start automatically like I'm going to like Freddie over here is a meatball, a full meatball. Like can take my face out. Its head is the same size as mine. Its jaws are twice as big.
Yes.
And realizing
Actually, maybe.
maybe I don't know. And maybe it's like, that's not the right way to go. In order for me to survive, this is what it's going to need to have the best outcome. Humans, on the other hand, are like, look at me. I can jump high. I can bark. I can do this. I can do that. And it's like, that doesn't work here. That's not what we need in order to get together. And what's interesting is when owners come back, dogs freak out, owners get nervous. They're like, what's happening? And it's like, we were all just on a walk. We were able to come together because we realized the goal as a team,
Yes. Yes.
And we need to be able to do that instead of somebody jockeying for position. Now, if Freddie, this 80-pound pit bull, decided that it didn't want to walk with Scooby, we're going to have a problem. We'll be in two different directions because you wanted to show how cool you are or how powerful you are instead of realizing in order to do this, we have to be able to work together. That's why
Yes.
DEI is so important. And that's where you have the most success, where everybody is different. But now what did I learn? I learned how to cooperate with you, and they don't even have a word, not even a word. They take the time to assess it. And we haven't taught people to look at it together, build on those strengths, and work with what we have in order to have the expected outcome in mind.
It's interesting because we're talking about the hangover, and I do want to. I love what you just shared, and I do want to connect it to and love all the comments, everybody. Thank you so much for chiming in. The one comment about fish stinks that after a few days, and it's like that at the C-suite level. And I love what you're sharing, but I also can hear people saying, yeah, but you don't know what it's like at my company. And I will say to you, we actually do know that.
We do.
And we do recognize the fact that you might say what Jackie just shared, she's right. Like, we've got to be aligned as a team, working towards the same objective, not be pulling two different ways on the leash. You are on board. But if in my organization, if I don't jockey for a position to be seen, I will be overlooked because that's the mechanic of the organization I'm a part of.
That's right.
And that we're totally get it. We're not saying that this is going to solve that, but you then have to make some decisions. Do I want to live in the hangover of what this organization has been like for the last 30 years or however long it's been, with the amount of turnover it has, with the amount of frustration that's there, with, wait for it, low employee engagement scores, shocking.
Right.
Like, you may need to say, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but I have to concurrently start looking to go elsewhere because I'm not going to change the overall mechanic. I can only be responsible for me. If the only way I'm going to get attention is if I tear everybody else down so I can jockey for position, I don't want to be about that anymore.
No, right.
I hear you.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier about having an SOP where this is what we have the understanding. And the challenge is what's I think is so fascinating is that because we don't have the thing that is so fascinating about animals versus humans is that they ultimately staying alive is the goal. The staying alive and getting your needs is the goal.
Mm.
And they fully understand that instinctively on their own. And they know who is in power and how we are able to do that. But as humans, we aren't sure of what the outcome is supposed to be. So as a result, we don't walk in the same direction because this person is afraid of their boss or who doesn't know where
Mhm.
they're going, who doesn't know what the
Mhm.
company goals is. And so everybody's just doing the only thing they know how to do. And it's important. The other point that I will probably say this on every show, you yelling sit 25 times does not mean the dog is all of a sudden going to understand. If you have to do it
Right.
35 times, it doesn't understand what you're saying and you'll
Right.
never be able to achieve the goal.
Right.
It means you have to give the education and the guardrails in order to help people in their success. And people are so worried about their own survival, they're unable to see what we need to survive as a team or a company.
And it is a skill to do that as well, right? Like
Right.
let's be honest, right? Not everybody can walk into a room and know first time how to do what you just shared, right? The ability though, or lack thereof, don't let that dissuade you. It's something that can be learned, right? It's not like Jackie was born with all this knowledge, or I was, or anybody else, or so many of you I know that are listening now and watching later. Like, you throw that in the comments. You know when you started, how many silly things we did, or perspectives we had, or fears that we had for so long about things. That's part of the growth edge in the workplace, right? It's really to like, I have a hypothesis. I'm going to test it out, right? And I'm going to be found wrong. I'm going to be found half right. I'm going to be found fully right. And I'm going to grow from that, tweak that, partner with other people. Like, that's part of what I hope we leave behind on the, oops, somebody's at the window, Amazon. Um, that's part of what I hope we leave behind from last year, right? That part of the hangover we have to stop with. Like, fear drives so much for the individual. Fear drives too much.
It
And gosh,
drives
let's let it go.
it drives too much. But I want to end with this because I thought
Yep.
this was fascinating. My sister, she has been consulting. She was hired for like one thing, and my sister, like she's been there for like a year and a half now. She was hired for one project. She's been there for a year and a half. And the other day, my sister was an event planner for Robert Half for over 25 years.
Oh
She
yeah.
started working on events, but she wasn't supposed to be working on events. She was supposed to be work on other things. And she's putting these things together because that's the way she was doing something. Someone asked her, oh, we're going to have an event. We're going to have it at the Marriott. Do you have a contact that you can give me? And she said, no, because you're not paying for that. And I was only
Hmm.
able to get that for putting the over 20 years of work in. It's time for you to build that so that
Yeah.
maybe you can have it at the Hilton. You work towards that because you are scaling your knowledge, and I will support you in your work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, we have to get off of this. I'm just going
Mm-hmm.
to grab this and grab this. It is the experience and putting the work in that allows you to continue to build and grow. And so, when you go into your room, look around, find out what the path is. Don't let the ego get in the way of progress
Mm.
and success, and work together to make the best out of what you are. You're not winning any points by disrupting and making that productivity go down because of your ego.
Just for the sake of disruption too. Sometimes we're like,
That's
we
right.
got to shake things up. It's about change. Yeah, but it's directional, right? Like, where's why this change? Where's it taking us?
And AI is not built to be innovative. It's built to do what we've done before and just repackage it
And
in a
be
new way.
responsive
It's
to it.
not going
Yeah,
to give
yeah, yeah.
you new
Yeah.
innovative ways to do it.
You're so
Sally.
smart. I'm so excited for this book. Let's get it done. Come
Listen, I
on.
know. I mean,
Let's
the
get it
first chapter
done.
is so you want to get a puppy. It's like
That's awesome.
it's
Hey,
like
everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Great time. We really appreciate it. If you're watching after the fact, obviously feel free to continue to comment. We'll also say if you are in transition looking for your next opportunity, please make sure you're sharing that information here as well with a link to your profile. Let people know that you're on the hunt, because we've got lots of great resources and lots of great, wonderful people that are watching this and will be might have the next role for you.
that's right. And next week I'll have less bangs. This is just a 90s throwback.
I'm going to do the same. Less bangs for me as well.
Good job. Good job.
Thanks, Bonusly, for the cup, by the way.
Bye.
Bye.